Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we're going to get into how to survive a long distance relationship. And it's one of those things that it is survival because your relationship, a lot of times you don't realize it because people, this is what a lot of people do. Okay. They go, oh my God, you got a new job. You're going away to university, college. You got something coming up. We can do this. We can do this because we're so strong as a couple. We have so much love. Or let's make it work, which is a worse narrative than we're so strong and we can make it work. But a lot of times what people don't do is they don't ask themselves, have I been in a long distance relationship before? And here's the thing. If you haven't, good luck. It's not easy. If you're untrustworthy or one of you are jealous, good luck. It's going to be a disaster most likely. The reality is a lot of people get in long distance relationships. They come to me, they break up, or they're in it. There's a lot of things going wrong, and I'll ask them, have you been in a long distance relationship before? No, this is my first time. Okay. Because it's different. You kind of think to yourself, like I said, we're going to make it work. We're so good together. You don't think about how lonely it is, how difficult it is for schedules. So a lot of times someone's going to move because they're going to take a new job or they're going to go to university. Those are the two big ones usually. So their schedule is going to be different. It's going to be harder to talk. All right, so let's get right into it. I got a 10 bullet point type thing here that'll help you keep track of what I'm talking about. Number one, you've heard me talk about this before. Have a finish line. Have a finish line. Have a finish line in two ways. One being, if you're going to see each other once a month, so every month we're going to see each other on the weekend, on this day, or once every 2 months. Now, the flip side of that is we're not going to see each other for 6 months or a year. This is going to be more difficult, but you still should have, in 6 months, I'm moving there. In 8 months, I'm moving back. And the reason you'll have a finish line is because maybe school ends. Maybe your contract's up at your job. Okay? So when those things happen, you know that there's no more game playing as far as, hey, we're gonna make this work, right? Okay, so the finish line makes it so those hard, bad days of missing, wishing, hoping, loneliness, lack of intimacy, you're like, okay, another day. Now, on the flip side of this, let me be crystal clear. There's a flip to this. If you say in 6 months I'll be there and then you're not because something came up for work or I decided to stay longer, now you've created disappointment and distrust. It's a huge letdown. You've taken air out of the balloon, and this will actually be your staircase down and out of this relationship. So if that happens, because there's a lot of anticipation, and there's always one person that cares more than the other. That's just the rule of relationships. They're never quite 100% equal. So what happens is someone goes, oh, I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you. You don't care as much. And you're like, actually, I'm having a really good time here in LA, right? I don't want to go, so I'm going to make up some excuse. Disappointment, distrust is created. The long distance thing has now become something that they don't trust your word. Now, I'm going to come back to this. Trust is paramount in any long distance relationship. It's paramount in most relationships. It's double duty on a long distance thing. All right, so let's get into number two. Number two, let each other have their space. Okay, what do I mean by it? If you're feeling needy and your partner is not available, okay, don't panic or accuse them of not caring. When you live far apart, especially if there's time difference, you'll be on different clocks. Okay, that's just how it is. So especially the time difference. But like I said earlier, a lot of times you're going to have a different schedule. You're moving for a job usually. You're moving for a reason. You're moving into a new place, a new community. You're going to have a new schedule. So you're not going to be available at the same times that person's used to, let alone seeing each other. So when someone says they can't make it to talk to you on FaceTime, or they're short with you in text, you're going to have to take that one on the chin sometimes. That's part of being in a long distance relationship. So instead of panicking, creating drama, telling them that you don't care about them, that you're not serious about the relationship, take two steps back rather than 2 steps forward. Ideally, you both can find a sweet spot where you can talk daily. Okay, a time that both works for you to touch base. So if it's like 8 p.m. for you and it's 7 a.m. for them, so be it. Now, do you both have to make that time every day? No, not necessarily, but it would be nice if that's like 5-6 times a week. That's a dependable time, right? When you're long distance, there's a lot of uncertainty. Creating certainty in spots that you can control, like when you talk to each other, helps. Okay. Number 3, don't just disappear for days. Let them know if you're going on a holiday or that you'll be swamped with work for 2 days. Okay. If you're really serious about keeping this long distance relationship, communication's paramount. If they can't accept that you're not going to be available for the next 2 days, the idea that you're transparent about it still wins the day. You got to let them know what's going on with you, because when it's long distance and they don't hear from you, they think something happened. They think you're in the hospital. That's really bad, right? It creates a lot of problems. So you're allowed to take 2 days off for a ski trip with some new friends or something like that. But on the flip side, be upfront, be direct. All right. Number 4, find a good way to enjoy some sort of long distance intimacy. Be creative. So a lot of people think like, what do you mean? Well, a lot of people get FaceTime, call it what you want. Maybe you want to shed some clothing, play some strip poker. I don't know. Do something creative to fill that need, to show each other you're still attracted to each other. You're looking forward to talking. Be creative. Look something up for that. Clients of mine that are in long distance relationships always do. Okay. And if you're one of those people, you're like, I don't like the idea of that, maybe you shouldn't be in a long distance relationship then. Okay. And the other person wants it. Number 5, this should be number 1. Make sure you trust each other. And if you don't reestablish the trust or the relationship, then the relationship will end. Okay. So if you don't trust each other going into this, or you have a little bit of doubts, or you think that your partner's a bit flirtatious, it's not going to work. You got to trust each other. Number 6, be there for each other. If your partner is having a bad day or their dog died, make a point to be there for them. Now, this one's really important. I'll tell you why. The reason why this one's so important is this. There's not a lot of things you can do, right, that you can do when you're in person, such as intimacy, such as hugging and kissing, such as feeling that energy. You can be there for someone when they're having a bad day. You can do that. You can listen to them when they're going through some things. So a lot of times when people come to me out of a breakup, they're like, sometimes I just miss talking to them about my day. This is something that you can do long distance, and you can do it well, and you could probably do it just as well as if you were in person, listening, being there, being a rock, being an anchor. So when the opportunity arises, don't run away from it or shed it off. This is an opportunity to strengthen the long distance. Number 7, don't go on dating apps just out of curiosity or desperation. There's a good chance they'll find out. A lot of people's friends have dating app experiences they don't talk about, and they end up telling your partner, okay? Or you'll do something you'll regret. If you're really into this relationship long term, it's serious, it's special, this is someone that you really want to be with, don't go on dating apps just out of curiosity or desperation. Oh, I just want to see what it was like. I just want to put a pole in the water, right? If you do that, the consequences can be the end of the relationship, because trust is paramount. If they find out, if you're tempted to go out with someone. So I would just recommend and by the way, if you want to put a dating app out there, then just end the relationship, right? Number 8, be honest with yourself. This is a really good one. Why are you really in this long-term relationship? See, this is one of those ones people complain, they whine, they get upset, they don't like what their partner's doing long distance. But really, when I get down to the nitty-gritty, I ask myself, why are you accepting this? They're crying, they're upset. It's been a year, it's been 2 years. They don't call me enough. They don't do. Sometimes the issues in a long distance relationship, if I'm going to be honest with people, is you're scared to be single. You're really scared to be single. This is not a good relationship. It's actually out of convenience. It's out of fear. And is it worth it to you? On the flip side, if you say to me, this is one of the most incredible human beings I've ever met, we have such a connection, we are so good together, it's worth, because there's a little pain in long distance, okay? There's a lot of sacrifice. If you're going to do that, make sure the other person's willing to make the same sacrifices, and there shouldn't be a lot of problems with your communication. There's going to be some issues along the way. But you have to ask yourself, is this someone I really want to be with, or am I just scared to be alone? There's a different answer for that, isn't there? Number 9, keep in mind environments count. Keep in mind where one lives counts. If someone is living in a better place to be single than you are, chances are it isn't going to work. If you're living in a cabin in Minnesota and you guys have been off the grid living on a lake, and it's just been you two for 2 years, and they get into a university in LA or San Diego or San Francisco or New York or Florida somewhere, right? It's going to be a better place to be single than your cabin in Minnesota. I'm giving you an extreme example, but if they go to these places, they're going to be more likely to abort. They're going to be more likely to cheat. They're going to be more likely to get curious, to have temptation. Now, it doesn't mean you don't want to try the long distance, but it's probably going to be a short long distance. So the fact that they have more opportunities where they're moving makes a difference. Number 10, don't assume things. Be direct and ask good questions while giving them the benefit of the doubt. Create some boundaries. So if you feel like, oh, I think they're doing this. Think means I don't know. Ask them. Look into their eyes when they're responding to you. Do you believe them? Okay. And then create some boundaries. If they're, oh, I went to lunch with this guy at work and he just asked me out for a drink. What do you think? We're together right now. I don't think. It's not okay. It's not okay with me. Okay, I just wanted to check with you first. He's just a friend, but create those boundaries. All right? So those are some ways to survive a long distance relationship. If you want to put in the comments ways that you've survived a long distance relationship or things that haven't worked, please put them in the comments or in the chat today. Nalina Mirage, I'm in a long distance relationship now. We're getting married. It was tough, but we're making it. Outstanding. I'm happy for you. It can be done. A lot of people say long distance relationships don't work. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the biggest things I'm a opponent of or proponent of is stop making generalizations. You can have a long distance relationship for 4 years and make it work. You're individually based. Are the odds against you? Absolutely. Is it ideal? No. Okay. Can it be done? Yeah, there was a guy on the moon before. Okay. So can you get married later on and make it work? Is it going to be rough? Yeah, sure. Certain people are built for long distance relationships, meaning that they can really focus on one person. They live lives where they are hermits. They like to stay home a lot. They don't go out. They're deeply committed to who they're with. And so some people can do it. Like I said, the odds are against you, right? All right, let's get into, I have a short story. Didn't really, he said it was a story, but it's not really a story. It's more of a question, but we'll get into that. Hey, coach, just wanted to drop my story. And if you have a story out there, go to writemac.com. The link is in the description below. If you want to unpack your breakup story with me, go to writemac.com, book a live coaching session. Just want to drop my story. I was in a relationship with a transgender woman for about 2 years. I haven't been open to my friends and family about this, but a couple of good friends know. I'm not sure why I feel embarrassed, but I do. Well, you feel embarrassed because it's quote unquote not normal. You know your friends and family most likely would not accept it because you know them better than I do. It's still one of those things that's loosely accepted. So I understand where you're coming from about that. At some point, shame and embarrassment will eat you up. And so if you're going to continue to have this relationship, you're going to have to find, what I would say is, rather than look at it like I got to tell everyone, tell one person at a time. And you might be surprised. Allow yourself to be surprised that someone might not react the way you think. And maybe initially they're shocked and surprised, but if they're a good friend or family member, they're allowed to be a little bit shocked, right? On the flip side, they're not going to disown you if they're good friend. It's not that big a deal to most people these days, I believe. Give them the opportunity to prove that they're not going to shame you. And if they do, you know their true colors. Now, my partner is getting upset that I haven't come out, and I feel like it's just not necessary. So this is where the problem is. Your partner looks at it like, this is gonna start to create problems between you two. We have a good thing going. We get along great. We don't plan to get married. Kids are out of the question. So why create drama? All right. Here's the thing. I'm okay with that. Your partner's not. This is going to become an increasing problem. The flip side of that is, eventually, if you're together, you've been together 2 years, if you're tiptoeing around town, friends or family are going to find out eventually anyways, and it's going to weigh on you as this relationship goes longer and longer. So if you said, you know what, I don't want to tell anyone, I want to keep this life a secret life, that's okay, but don't drag the partner that doesn't want to make it a secret into it. And then keep in mind, at what point are you going to come out? Right? Because shame and embarrassment, like I said, it'll eat you up. And at some point, you're going to run into some people. I know family and friends will be sniping behind my back and making jokes. Why should I bring that on myself? That's a really good question. It's definitely a choice. But then you'll know who your real friends and family are, correct? And like I said, allow them the space to be a little bit shocked if this is something that they had no clue about. Allow them to say a few things maybe, and then tell them, hey, look, this is who I am. This is who I've been a while. But if they go too far, now you know who's, there's a lot of value in someone telling you their true colors, right? So those people might not have been that close to you anyways, but I think you'll feel a lot of relief by getting it out there. And like I said, you might be rarely pleasantly surprised by how many people accept it. Some people just aren't in a situation to accept it. I'm not sure it benefits our current relationship in any way. What's your professional opinion on this? I don't know if this is a thing about benefiting your relationship. I think this is more a thing about you're carrying this. And like I said, I think what you're not realizing is, if you're keeping this a secret, what if it gets out? It would be much more appropriate for you to be upfront. And it just depends on where you live. Some environments and areas are much more open to this. San Francisco Bay Area would be way open to this. But I've noticed over the last few years, it's one of those things that's not that big a deal for a lot of people. And like I said, this is a good way for you to discover who your real friends and family are. And if you just don't want to do it, fine. But it's not going away, right? It's not going away. Doing the right thing doesn't always have an immediate benefit. But I think your partner's looking at it like, you have shame and embarrassment attached to our relationship. That's not good. That's a sensitive issue. That's a booby trap, right? Give yourself a chance to shed that. Okay. Thank you for writing that in. We got 2 on deck, 1 like. Thank you very kindly. I'm going to clip it at 19 minutes today. I appreciate you all. It is curtains.